everybody, it's Wendy, and I am here today for our awesome jewelry monthly challenge. Sorry, had to grab my paper, I forgot it. So this is the monthly jewelry collaboration challenge. It's hosted by Pirate Pretty's Jewelry, which is Angela. And there are several people participating. I will have a link in the description box below because I can't even remember who all is at this point. I can't believe that it is the 15th already of May. I mean, I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. But here we are. And so our colors for May are brown. Our metal type is brass or gunmetal. We can make a necklace or a bracelet. And here are the themes: beach, shells, crab, and seahorse. So I'm going to tell you guys, I had a hard time with these colors. So I got to looking through my nautical stuff. I keep all my nautical stuff separate from everything else. Let me move this camera down. And these beads that I got from Bargain Bead Box just the other day, I thought were so pretty. If you can see, they've got like pinks and greens, just a lot of really pretty colors in there. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make this my focal piece. Let's build around that. So I have these shells too, and I thought they looked really pretty. And then I've got these heishi beads that are new on my website. I'm actually uploading them right now as we speak. And I thought they looked really pretty. You know, they picked up the pink, the green, and the brown. So we're going to use those. These are some Persian jade beads, and I think I'm going to try to incorporate these as well, just because I like the colors. They go well with all of this. And then I've got some bicones that are like a... gosh, I don't even know, like a champagne color. They're not really bronze, but I just felt like they would add an element of sparkle here. And they are, I didn't have bronze bicones, and I just thought they fit in pretty good. So, like I said, I had a hard time with this. I've got 2 cones. This is going to be a multi-strand bracelet. So I've got 2 cones. I've got chains in different, this is like a really thick Rolo chain. Here's just a thinner chain, and this is a really huge chunky chain. So I'm going to incorporate these somehow. I've got some bronze spacer beads here. And I have these connector rings. I'm not sure I'm going to use these. I was thinking I was going to hook my strands to this, and then, but I think I may use the cones if the cones will work. We'll see. I'm really not sure. This is in my head, so if that bugs you, you're in the wrong video because I'm really not sure how this is going to work out. I just pulled out a bunch of stuff and we're going to see. So yeah, if you have a problem with that, you might want to exit now. We have got a lobster claw clasp, a gigantic one. These are on my website too if you're interested, as well as these bead caps. These are my favorite bead caps in the world, so I'm using them. These are some square Dell spacers that are on Bargain Bead Box's site right now. And I've got some regular old antique bronze spacer beads, just little round ones. Not sure I'll use them. I've got some crimp beads. You're going to need tiger tail. It is a hot mess. Look at it. It's like all just everywhere. It is 49 strand tiger tail by Beadalon. I've got some jump rings in antique bronze and a couple of head pins mixed in here. I don't know if I'm going to need them or not either. So yeah, this is kind of like an experiment today. So if you want to come along, then just grab your stuff, and you can use anything. You don't have to use the same thing I'm using, obviously. Grab your stuff, grab your jewelry tools, and let's see what we can come up with. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, like I said, I want this to be multi-strand. I want it to be several strands, actually. So let me cut these guys off of here. I thought these were really cool beads. I got these Michael's, I guess, is Bead Gallery. Probably when they had a sale. Back in the new year, they had a big sale, and I got all kinds of beads. I mean, everything was marked down super cheap. So, okay. One thing I have to keep in mind is my wrist size. So I have a tiny wrist. It's a curse in a way because you want to use all these beads and you can't because your wrist is just freaking little. All right, so I'm also going to cut these off. Now, I really like these. I think they're so pretty. I think Bargain Bead Box still has them today. If you are interested in those, you might want to check that out. Okay, we've got these guys here and these heishi beads, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the ends off of them as well. I'm just going to kind of use them as spacers, so I'm just going to make some little piles of them. Some of them are 4mm, some of them are 6mm, but I just got a huge shipment in of these. and I'm uploading them onto my website. I love to use these as spacers. They add a pop of color, and they really make it easy to incorporate like an odd color like this hot pink into your beading without, you know, having to have a bunch of hot pink beads, which I don't have a bunch of hot pink beads. So I really like these. These are made from polymer clay. So there's some piles of those. Let me get them out of the way. Alrighty. So now we just got to decide how we want to do our strands. So I know that I want to use these jade beads with the bead caps. So that's one thing I know I want to do, because I like the way these bead caps cup these little beads. So I've got a lobster claw here. I'm going to have my, here, my tubes or cones. And I have a big old jumper ring down here that my lobster claw is going to clasp onto. Okay, so I've got to decide. This will accommodate several strands, and what you do is when you get down to the ends of it, you use smaller beads like these bicones. These will be great for that. Or if you have seed beads would work. So let's go ahead and let's just do a strand. Let me find the end of my tiger tail. It is a mess. I can never keep this stuff. I mean, it's just always everywhere. It's in a knot. It's just everywhere, and I have to really, okay. All right, so I'm going to cut probably, how big is that? I like to have enough room on the ends to make sure everything gets finished off well. So I'm going to do probably 9-inch lengths of this, just to make sure I have enough for everything to end up on. And hold on, I'm going to grab bead bugs. Oh, and I just went to get off of here, and I did tether my glasses to my table. If you saw one of my other videos, hold on, let me grab these bead bugs. A couple seconds, bear with me. Where are they? Here they are. Bead bugs are lifesavers when you're trying to do multi-strands. So if you're watching my videos the other day, I talked about how I never have my glasses here. I never can find them. So I took an eyeglass, one of these eyeglass thingies right here. I put it on here. I tied some rat tail on. And I have literally hooked this to my table with a command hook. It's tied to it. So I just went to get up and like it jerked my head because my glasses were. But hey, it keeps my glasses where I can find them, which is nice. All right, so here we go. We are going to put a little bead bug on there. I am going to go ahead. Do I want to put the cone on? No, I do not want to put the cone on. But I am going to go ahead and put on like 3 small bicones. You can also, these are 3mm bicones, I'm pretty sure. You can also use seed beads for this. Seed beads are great for this. And the only thing we're doing, here I'll show you, I'll take this off. What we're doing is we're going to put this in the cone, through the cone, and they're all going to come, well, if I can get them through there, they're all going to come through the cone and end, and I want these to be, see, they'll go up in the cone. Like if I put these big 6mm beads in there, they won't go up in the cone very well. So before I lose all my bicones off of there, let's put them back on. Put the bead bug back on. And I'm just going to string this up. Okay, so 3 bicones. I'm going to do a bead cap and one of these beads, and I'm trying to pick out these jade beads that have the pinks and the greens pretty prominent in them. So here's another one. Okay, I want to make all of these rows different. I'm going to use a bicone here, and then another bead cap, bead, and bead cap set. Okay, so here's what we're getting. And I think I'm just going to repeat that pattern until I have the length that I want. So just a bicone, a bead cap, a bead, and a bead cap, and another bicone. And I'm just going to repeat that till I get my length. So I've got my cone here. It's going to have to come out and hook on. All of these wires will go around and hook onto my lobster claw clasp right here. So I've got a test for the lobster and the cone. So I've got a cone and a ring over here, same deal. So probably I'm not going to have a lot of room. Yeah, by the time I get to, my wrist is about 6 1/4, so I make everything about 6 1/2. So yeah, probably I may go a little more than 6 1/2. So I'm going to need about, let's see, just lay this out and measure it a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to need about 5 inches of beads. So that's what we're going to do. So let me do bead cap, another colored bead. I'm trying to pick out the ones that have a lot of the pinks and greens in them. Another bead cap, another bicone. Whoops. The bicones are just going to give it a little sparkle. This one is kind of like jacked up right here, but I think the bead cap will cover that up. It does. I'm not a huge antique bronze fan, and I'm definitely not a gunmetal fan at all, so I didn't want to go with gunmetal because I knew that I don't have much gunmetal. I would really be limiting myself. Antique bronze, I like it. I just don't use it a lot. I prefer the shinier metals in gold and silver. I don't know, it's just me. But, so I had a little bit of a challenge finding things to use in this bracelet, but I think it's going to turn out pretty. There's a couple more that are pink. Okay. All right, so this is looking cute. I'm going to do one more set here and see, because I need room for the bicones to go up in the, I'll need 3 bicones to go up in the cone. Okay, so here's what we've got. Let's see how long this is. So this is about, we're close to 5. If I do one more bead set, and then the 3 bicones should be the 5 inches. And if it's a little bit long, that's okay. This is going to be, it's going to have a lot of strands on it. And if it's a little bit longer, that'll be fine. Okay, and 3 bicones. 1, 2, and let's see how long this turns out to be. Right here, a little beaded section. And it's a little under 5, isn't it? Wow, it's quite a bit under 5. Is it really? It is. It's 4 1/2. So actually, I'm going to add another beaded set, and then I will do my 3 bicones. So we'll go here. One more beaded set, and then the 3 bicones, and that should do it, I would think. Okay, let's try this. And that's more like it. Okay, so here's our first strand. I am going to put a bead bug on it, just like that. Set it aside. Now we're up for our next strand, so let me grab some more tiger tail. Okay, now on this strand, let's get these guys out of the way. I'm probably not going to use them again. Okay, so on this strand, I think I'm going to do my my hematite beads here that are so pretty. Let's put this on bead bug on. Again, I'm going to do 3 little bicones. Just like that. And then I'm going to put these beads on. So I'm going to do 1, and then I think I'm going to do a couple of these heishi beads, a couple of the brown ones, just like that. And another of these guys. And then we're going to do brown and pink. We're going to mirror it. Actually, I don't know. Do I want to do 2 of each color in between there? I'm not really liking that a whole lot. Let me pull that back off and see here. I don't know. I do want to use the heishi beads, but maybe I should be doing the brown and the green. Let's try that. So let's do green, brown, and since the green are 4mm, I'm going to put, well, that's ended up being 2, but that one's very thin. A green, a brown, and a green. Yeah, I think I like that a little bit better. And then we'll put this guy on. And now I may do green, pink, and green. Let's see what that looks like. I want to incorporate the pink because I think it looks pretty. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Another one of these guys. And I'm going to mix these up and down. I don't want them all facing the same way. And then I'm going to do green, brown, and green. And another one. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I get to the desired length. Green, pink, and green. This one will go quicker because these are kind of big beads. There we go. Another one of these guys. Green, brown, and green. Okay, one more. Green, pink, and green. That's looking really pretty. Okay. Another one. I'm not even paying attention to how I put these on. I want them to be different anyway, so I'm just putting them on. I'm not even really paying attention to how they go or how they're going to lay. Green, brown, green. Now, let's get our length. Again, we need 5 inches of beads, and that's counting the bicones. So I've got a little under 4. I can keep going just a little bit. Let's put this one on. Green, pink, and green. I can't have trouble getting those little, their holes are big. I just have a hard time getting them on there. It's my coordination. Okay, another one of these. You guys have to check those out, though, on my website. They really are so many pretty colors of them. I've not really used them a whole lot in the past, but I'm really kind of loving them now. And I do have them in 4 and 6mm, so there's a little bit of variety there. Okay, let's go ahead and measure. And we've got right at about are we at our 5 inches? We're very close, so I'm going to go ahead and take these 3 off and just use my 3 bicones on the end there. And that'll be our 5 inches for this strand. Oops. One. I have a terrible time getting these on here, and I do have my glasses on. There we go. Okay, so bead bug for this one. Set him up here. Now, what do I want to do next? I do want to get these bigger guys on here. I really like them. I want to try to find, do I have another one that's got these spots on it? Because I kind of want them to all be similar, and no, I really don't. This one kind of does. Maybe I will use the ones without the spots. There we go. Let's do that. Okay. So again, tiger tail, cut your piece. Okay, bead bug on the end. The bead bugs have saved me so many times, you guys have no idea. Yeah. Bead bug on the end. And then for this one, I'm going to do the 3 bicones to get us started. Okay. Then I think I'm going to do a square dell here, just to make sure there's enough room for the smaller beads to get up in the cone before I start with these big guys. Okay, then we're going to put on one of these big guys. Now these, there we go, are kind of hard to get through there sometimes. And then do I want to use these on here? Let's look and see. I can't tell if I do or not. How's that going to look up against those? Yeah, actually that looks pretty good. I think we're going to go with it. Okay. Another of these big spacers. Where are they? There they are. And I dropped it. This guy. Now, I know these are going to spin like crazy. When you put this on your wrist, obviously, especially if you make it to fit and it doesn't have a ton of room to spin, they're going to stay flat. These are so hard to get on sometimes, though. Get the tiger tail through them. Where'd it go? Let me grab a different one. That one's drilled really kind of complex. Let's see if I can get through this one. There we go. Okay. And here we go with the sky. Alright, another one. I don't want the ones with the brown. I'm kind of trying to keep them matching. I like this little one on the end here, but it's got a sharp spot. Let's try this one. Yeah, some of them are easy to get your tiger tail through, and some of them are, they're just hard. So I tend to try to stick with the easier ones just because, especially for time's sake, for the video. Okay, so there we go. How long have we got now? Let's see here. Got 4 inches. We could do another of these guys and the 3 rondelle, or the 3 bicones, I think. Should do it. So we got our little square dell. Don't forget him and your 3 bicones. One, 2, and 3. All right, let me measure that. I hope that's not too long. It's just a tad over 5. I may need to take, I could always take one of these bicones off if I wanted to, because they're not really going to show totally up in the cone, so I may do that. So, but this is pretty close, so let's set it up here. Okay, so there's 3 strands. I know I want to do a strand of chain. I think I want to use this Rolo chain. So this is actually a necklace that I need to dismantle. So I'm just gonna take this apart. The circle here, or the, what you call it? Jump ring. That's it. Yes, jump ring. Okay. Now, for these to go in the cone is going to be a little difficult. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I may have to hook a head pin to it. I wonder if I should just put them all on put them all on head pins at the end and put them through. I'm not sure how I want to do that. But I do know that I would like to use a strand of this, so we'll see. I don't know. It may work out, it may not. Like I said, this is in my head. I haven't really fleshed it out yet, so I'm going to leave that for just a minute. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got our big shells in the middle. We've got our smaller beads here and our smaller beads here. So I'd kind of like to do a strand of just like the heishi beads and the bicones. Let me grab another piece of tiger tail here. Now I can't even find the end of it. It's just a mess. Okay. Okay, so let's grab a piece of this. Let's do our bead bug. Okay, let's see here. Let me do a couple bicones and a square dill. For the cone. Now, let's see here. I'm going to do 2 brown, a green, maybe 2 green, 1 pink. I don't want a huge amount of the pink because it's like kind of overwhelming if you get too much. And then I kind of do want the bicones in here because they just add that sparkle. So let me do 2 of the green, a bicone, okay, 2 more green, one pink, and 2 brown. Nope, 2 green and 2 brown. I'm just going to do a mirroring pattern. 2 green and 2 brown. These would be great to make earrings from too because they are so lightweight. Okay, so I like that little pattern right there. So then I will need 2 more green. A pink. Two more green. A bicone. 2 green. I think I put, no I didn't. I was gonna say I think I put 3 on there, but I didn't. 2 green. A pink. 2 green. And 2 brown. So that's a cool little repeating pattern. I kind of like that right there. And I think I'm just going to do my whole strand that way, so I won't make you watch that. I will do my whole strand and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's my 4th row with all my heishi beads and my bicones. And so now I'm going to make a 5th row. And the reason I'm doing that is because I just feel like I need something small over here. Because there's 2 there, it's my OCD completely. But I'm going to do a row, I think, of bicones and square dells. These little square dells and the bicones. Like this. And I may mix in just a couple of these guys along the way, just rarely. Not a whole lot of them, but I don't know. I may not even do that. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3 bicones. 2, 3. I'm going to do a square dell like this. And I kind of want to incorporate a pink over in here though, because I'm afraid that it needs it. Because everything else kind of has the pink and green. I'm just looking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking at it here a second to see. What it would look like if we did a little heishi combo here. Like I did on the other one, just not as often. Not the whole strand, but we could do the pink, the green, the brown, a couple of the green again, and the pink. So I could do just like a section of this, and then like that, like a little section to kind of mirror that. Or I could do the browns. Let's do this. Sorry guys, I'm designing on the fly. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 browns. I'm going to kind of mirror it, but make it backwards. 2 browns, 2 greens, 1 pink. Yeah, I'm just going to make it backwards than what I did over there. Okay. 2 greens and 2 browns. So that brings out a little bit more of the brown, but kind of puts a splash of the pink in, which is good. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do a squared L. I'm going to put on 3 bicones, I think. Do I want to do 3 bicones? Yeah, I am. I want to bring some of that sparkle over out into this row. 3 bicones and a squared L. And then we'll start it again. The little 2 browns, 2 green. Let me grab some more green. I'm out of green. Okay, 2 green. 1 pink. 2 green. And 2 browns. And then we'll do our squared L. 3 bicones and a squared L. Yep, I think that'll be a good last row over here. 3 bicones and a squared L. And I'm just going to repeat that pattern right there until I have 5 inches. Okay, so I've got my last row on here, and I'm figuring out as I'm doing this is going to be way too wide for the cone. There's no way that all of those are going to fit in this cone. So I'm going to go back to my original idea with this connector, and I'm going to use it. And I may have to take a couple of bicones off each side, but that's okay. I'm going to take this, this ring off. I don't want the little ring on here. And I'm making sure that I do it at the same end on both of them, because I'm going to need this wide end for this ring. Wide end for all these to attach to, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this strand right here. I am going to crimp this. Let me scoot this down just a tad so I have a little more room at the top. There we go. Well, let me just take it off and just be very careful. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these bicones off because I have 2 on the other end, and I think that's going to make it pretty well 5 inches. Let me measure it. Actually, let me measure this with this, and this, and this, and that. And let's see how long that is, because that's going to be the length of the entire bracelet. And that is 9 inches, which is going to be way, 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 way too long for me. So I'm going to take off these 2 bicones off both of the ends of this one. And once I get the length on one of these, then it'll be easy to measure them all. I won't have to sit here and do this every time, but I just want to make sure that I don't make it huge because I have a habit of doing that. So that's still, wow, we're still at 8.5 inches. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, not having enough room to put beads on. When you use any other type of finding, it gets a little bit hard to have enough room to get your beads on because, like, you know, I've got all this stuff that's got to fit in here, and we're still at 8 inches. So actually I'm going to have to take off a whole section of this. And this is what I end up doing a lot of times with my bracelets. I end up making a bunch of strands and then having to pull things off because my beaded section can't be that long. And I hate that because there's so many pretty beads. I mean, you just want to use them all, you know, but sometimes I just have to pull them apart. So let's see what that does. That puts it at a little over 7, which is probably actually okay. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. We're going to go with that. I'm going to put it right here at a little over 7. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a crimp bead. Oh, I do have some bronze ones in here, and you're just going to insert your wire. Now you can decide if you want to hook these on with a wire guardian or with jump rings. I am going to pull out some wire guardians. In fact, I thought I had them out. I meant to grab them. Hold on, let me do that. And I just about jerked my glasses off my head again. Okay, so we're just going to, I'm going to use some wire guardians just because I feel like it makes this a little more secure. So you're going to take your wire guardian, and I'm actually going to hook the wire guardian right to this ring. I don't want to add jump rings because that's going to take up even more space that I want to be able to have beads on my bracelet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to hook the wire guardian right onto this ring. And see, it will flow just fine. I'm going to put the crimp bead back through here. Shorten that a bit. Put the crimp bead back through. Now I am going to put this bead bug back on the other end, because if I don't, I will dump every one of these beads off, and y'all don't want to sit here and watch me restring this whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to grab my crimping pliers. Okay, and as you can see, we've got our 2 strands of tiger tail here. You want to make sure that your wire guardian is up in there completely and there's nothing hanging loose. Okay, and we're going to take our crimp pliers, and I like to put the little divot at the bottom. I'm going to lay this in here, and I want to make sure that my 2 wires are sitting side by side and not crisscrossing. Okay, so mine are, I believe. Or are they crisscrossed? They are crisscrossed. Okay, there we go. Make sure they're sitting side by side and not crisscrossing. Okay, I know you can't see this very well, but they're side by side, and my crimp is in the little divot on my crimping pliers. Okay, and then I'm just going to press down. And what that's going to do, if you can see, that's going to separate these 2 wires. Let me see if I can get it up here. 1 in each channel. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate my crimping pliers to where I've got this little crimp vertical in my pliers, and I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze, and that will bend it. If you can see, it bent it right in half and made like a perfect little crimp. And then you can take your pliers and just reinforce it. That's how you want to crimp these tiger tails together. That keeps it from crushing the wire, because tiger tail is 49 strands of wire wrapped together. Okay, and it gives it a good little ending there. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that my beads are tight and everybody is on the strand like they should be. Nothing's hanging out, because I've got, there we go. Nope, I've got something hanging out between these 2 heishi beads. I need to get that fixed. It either needs to go through the bead or I need to cut it. There we go, it went through the bead. Okay, so you want to make sure this is tight. You don't want it to be so tight that it bows and looks weird, but you definitely don't want your beads flying around on it, running around on it. So we're going to do the same thing on the other end. We're going to take our crimp. We're going to take our wire guardian. And then we're going to take our loop. It's a little harder on this end because you just don't have as much room to work with as you did on the other end. But you can do it. Put your wire all the way through your wire guardian here. Then insert your ring. Okay. Then we're going to take the wire back down through our crimp bead and through a couple other beads if we can get it through. I like to just go through a couple other beads. That gives it some security, I think. Doesn't have to be real far. I'm just going to go through those 2 bicones, and then if you pull like this, it should tighten everything up. But again, you want there to be a little bit of movement. Don't let it be so tight that, you know, it's weird and pokey. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but okay. So I'm going to make sure that my beads have a little movement. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get my wires, make sure they're not crossed. I don't think they are. I can't tell very easily this time. And then I'm just going to turn my plier and go ahead and close the crimp. Yeah, they are in their little channels. That's what you want. And it's wanting to spin on me. It's a little harder the second time because this time you just don't have as much room to work with. You've got your wire guardian in there and your other stuff in the way. But I got it done, and I'm just going to tighten it up here. And there we have our first strand on our bracelet. Cut that off, and there it is. Now we're going to do the same exact thing with all of the strands. And my wire guardian's twisted there. Okay, we're going to do the same exact thing with all of the strands. I'm going to have to remove some beads and resize, but I'm just going to crimp the exact same way that I did on this one for all of my other strands. So do that and come on back. Okay, so I've got all of my strands connected onto my little rings here, and they tend to flop around and stuff, and that's okay. They're kind of bunchy, and I like them like that. And when you put this on, like I said, if it's tight enough on your wrist, and I'm going to make this tight, then the shells will stay like they're supposed to. Once I get it on buckled, it will be, see, it'll lay just like this. So we need to put our buckle on, our ending here. Now, I didn't end up using the chain. I could, because the chain would definitely hook to this ring, but I feel like it has a lot going on already. I don't know that I really want to add the chain in. I mean, I could, and I don't know. I don't think I'm going to, though. So what I do need to do, though, is I'm going to make a little bit of an extender over here because it actually is a little tight on me, which is good. That's what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and hook my lobster on the other side, and I'm going to use a fairly thick jump ring for this. I'm just picking out one of my thicker ones. This is a good one. I want it to be pretty secure. I like my bracelets to be a little tight. I just do. I don't like them to be loose and flopping all over. So we're going to close up this jump ring with this lobster claw. You can hear Chris on the phone with his mom. They're very loud. They don't talk normal, they scream. I don't know why. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to add a little bit of this Rolo chain and just put a dangle on the end, I think, and let it hang, just so I have the option of clipping it pretty much wherever I want to. So I'm going to do... Sorry guys, they are so loud. I mean, I try to shut my door sometimes, but it just gets opened back up because the dog and the cat use this room. But I don't know. I've never seen 2 people that have to scream when they talk like they do, but they do. They scream. It's bizarre. Okay. So I'm going to use a thicker jump ring again. And I'm going to hook this in here. Just like that. And then I'm just going to make a dangle to put on the end. So let's see. I think I'll use one of these guys. I really like them. And so you're going to need a head pin for this. And let's see, what do I want to do? I want to do a bicone, if it'll go down on this head pin. It will. I'm going to do a brown heishi bead, a pink one, a couple of greens, this guy, and another bicone. I think that's plenty for a little dangle. That looks cute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make my loop. got this tiger tail. It's just in the middle of everything. I'm gonna have to untangle that mess here in a minute. And then I'm just gonna roll my loop back. And there we have it, a little dangle. And I might hook it on with a jumper ring since that's kind of a thicker. I'm trying to untangle my untangle my pliers from my tiger tail. Okay, let's go ahead and just hook this on right here. And I am terrible, absolutely terrible about being able to clasp my lobster claw clasps on my own bracelets, but I'll give it an attempt here. So when you put it on, you would obviously just straighten your shells up like this. These can twist over each other if you want them to, or you can fix them to where they lay right. And then you're just going to buckle it. So I'm not going to try, I can't do it, but this is what it will look like when it's buckled tight and on your wrist. And I really like this. I think it turned out great considering that I'm not an antique bronze person. So I had a little trouble with the colors and the metals, but I think it turned out really pretty. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this was our awesome jewelry challenge for the month of May, and I will see you next month. Bye.